Well, first of all, Don, before we start, maybe just tell us a little bit your family, where they came from, who's your mother's people and your father's people.
My mother, well, I go with my father. My father was a Dublin man. He was born and he lived in Port Key in Dublin, and he worked for GSR, which eventually became CIE and Road Éireann, and he was sent to Waterford to work. My mother was born in a prison in Tralee, and my grandfather was transferred to Waterford with her brother and her sister. And what happened was, he was in the jail in thing, and they had a house in Barrack Street. But he was asked to refer back to Tralee, and the grandmother wouldn't go because you had to live on the premises. So that's what, and in her birth certificate it says prison house Tralee. And
they didn't like living in the prison, is it?
Well, you were confined. Confined to all what went on in the prison. My grandfather had more freedom as a medical warder over in the barracks, and he stayed up now. And it's not on any writing, but he told me the story of Mike Dunphy at the time, because he was the medical, and people don't believe this, that because somebody's going to be hanged the next day, they have to have a medical officer with them all night. So that's how, and he used to come over, and Kervick's shop on Ballybricken, he used to go in there every night when he'd be on night shift, coming home after 11 o'clock, and he'd buy the fish and chips. That was a fish and chip shop. And he'd have it in under his coat, and he'd say, oh, the piler was broke, that man. And she was from, we were having a different, she was from around, how would I put it, Kilmeaden. And my grandfather's parents were from Thomastown, down Dangan in Thomastown. The house is still there, as far as I know. And that's how they met up. My father were working in CIE for an awful long time with Tom O'Rourke. They delivered all the stone light bulbs or light pillars for the lighting in Waterford. They came from Hamburg, and they were all hollow, with rods on and down to them. I have a photograph upstairs of them removing one down outside the car stand, and it brought it around on a tractor that had only one gear. He got promoted because he got to know a man from Tramore, that was the head man, and a bus got caught under the bridge somewhere between New Ross and Enniscorthy, and they couldn't move it. And the boss said, bring down Jack Man. He said, he'll move that lorry for you, that bus. Jack went down, put down all the wheels, moved out the bus, and got them all pumped back up again, and he became an inspector. He became an inspector then, and he was involved in the horse racing. He had to go to an awful lot of horse meetings and fairs, because he was in charge of all the lorries at the moment, getting drivers in and lorries out at the fairs that went on around, and all the horse meetings.
And people probably wouldn't believe that the CIE used to deliver with horse and cart, didn't they?
Oh yes, that's all the time. That's what they changed, like. But
and you mentioned White Dunphy. That was the last man to be hanged in Ballybricken.
There was only one man hanged ever in Waterford.
Okay.
You can look that up. Like, okay. I fight with fellas over that. You know, he was the only one, because well, that's in the book. He poisoned his 2 children for £30. Okay. You know, at the time.
Okay, so then you were brought up where, Don?
I was brought up in Griffith's Place.
Okay.
Like, I moved from, we said the two, like William Street to the Mayor's Walk to Griffith's Place. and I went to school in Mount St. And my grandmother was the only place in Waterford where you could buy your lettuce, onions, carrots, parsnips, shamrock by knocking on the door, and they go up in the garden and give it to you for sixpence or twopence or threepence. People used to come down and buy rhubarb or
Go away.
ever before Kervick's
And
came
where
in.
was her garden?
104 Parry Street, overlooking Bunker's Hill.
104 Barrack Street.
Yeah,
And she had a beautiful garden.
2 beautiful girls.
Wow.
Yeah, she had Tommy Hanley's run because Tommy was a builder, but he had nothing in his garden. And if you looked at the back of his garden, the Nan's was the last one on the avenue, going up behind the houses.
Yeah.
Tommy's wasn't, so he couldn't bring any of his gear in there. So he gave it over to my grandfather. And the best way to do shamrock was spread it like seed, then get a little bunch together, put the bunch together in and leave them grow, and then they became a big spray.
So she was very talented. They were good
Oh
growers
yeah,
then.
oh yeah.
So you went to school in
Mount St.
in primary school in Mount St.
I'm saying all, yeah.
And then did you go? Where'd you go after that?
In the glass factory.
Yeah, but did you go to the tech first?
No, I only went in to kind of get into the tech.
All right.
They wouldn't take boys.
All right.
I wanted to become a chef.
All right.
See, I used to do wedding cakes with my mother. My mother would do a wedding cake, and I do the icing, or I do the mix. So I was getting interested in wedding cakes, and I made Palmer Flavor's wedding cake, and I made a couple of them. But I went down there thinking I could become a chef, and they said we don't mix pies with girls. So that left me open. Then when they wanted the 6 glasses in the glass factory, I went in there.
And what was in your head? Did you know anything about the glass factory?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
And where was it then at that stage?
Out where the gas company now, out by Kilcombe Park. There's only one building out there.
And do you remember walking in the first day?
I do.
Tell us about it.
She came on a Wednesday evening. I went down on a Tuesday, put my name in. And on Wednesday, Mrs. Murphy came up. She was married to Condooley at the it was after she married Condooley. She lived in 3 doors down from me in Griffith's Place. And she told me that, my mother, tell Don that he's starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So I got on my bike, and I cycled out to Paddy Truckle. And I passed a young fella on the way, not knowing anything. I was in about 10 to 8, and who walked in behind me was a boy called Eddie Lacey. And the two, I was 62, and he was 63. And I started to walk there then.
Your next door neighbours then?
No, he was in Keen's Road.
Oh, sorry.
But he got a job as well there, like, you know.
Okay.
But as I said, you know the way, at the time, there was hardly anybody around. We were on a bike, like, and no one around. And he was walking out, and I was cycling out.
Okay.
And I passed him going up by Richardson's, up by the Osling Convent. So when I went in the door, he came in behind me. But because I got in first, I became number 62.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
The first job I got, and a pity I didn't find the first job I got was outside. They had a square of about 12 feet square, and the lorries used to come in and dump the white sand there. We had to put it up onto the loft to dry it. So one of us was up on the loft, the other fella was filling the bucket and pulling it up. The other fella was upstairs and he'd throw the sand on the top of the furnaces. Now it was concrete, but if you fell on it you get burned. You know, the sand is burning you. And we were doing that. We sprayed an hour. I'll do an hour on the ground, shoveling sand up and putting it up to you, and he'll do the same for me, coming around. And then that went on for one day, and the next day then one of the foremen came out from inside the factory and said to me, Don, we want you to come in, we want you to knock off. And I said, what? Knock off? I only started yesterday. Oh no, a knocking off was when the glass was made. You had to knock it off of the iron until go into the oven then, you know, so I got a bit of a start. So I was working with a man called Mr. Kudon. He was a Polish man, very strict man to work with. And I think by working with that man, he gave me the idea and the knack of if you do a thing right, you do it right. He's very specific. And if you watch it like a hawk, we were making a glass called a Pinsler. It was a long glass with a heavy bottom on it, shaped like that. They use them all the time in the pubs, but if you move them too fast, the end of them bend. So you'd have a glass that was bent. So things had to be done precisely before you put them in the oven.
And at that stage it was all soda glasses?
All soda glass.
Which would be like the glasses you have in pubs?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
did you know at that stage that you were going to go and do, that they were going to go into crystal? Or?
No.
No, okay.
No. At the time, I'll tell you, about 6 or 7 months after we knew there was something to change on, they had everything set up, but they only had 2 furnaces. They had a third, then they built a third furnace, right? And the third furnace was to make jugs. And we saw that, we knew there was something different going on. Now there's a story about the jugs making, because they brought in a boy from Germany, a boy called Hitzer. Now, I don't know whether, I don't think many of them know this. They brought in a boy called Hitzer, and he had a girlfriend. And they put him into the cherry tree. The cherry tree had an apartment over the shop, next to the Maryland, downtown. And the furnace they made didn't face out the way. It faced sideways. So that, because you had to have a glory hole to make the top of the jug. So they positioned the burner on one side, facing across the hole to do the ring on the jug, right? Now there's 2 stories attached to it. The tube for that was on this side of it, but didn't someone during the night, after about 2 or 3 months, knock a stone down, but didn't tell anybody. And it went down the side of the thing like that. And this is when I started now. And I'll go to it in a minute. But like, they started to fill the pot. But when the pot got a crack in it, the glass leaked out. And eventually, the glass that was leaking out was overflowing the top because the tube was caught. Start the pot setting on a Friday at 2 o'clock. And we're still pot setting on a Thursday at 2 o'clock and still pot setting on a Tuesday, finishing it. We had to clean it out. So what happened was, you'd open the tube, had to break the stone inside, take out the thing, let the glass filter out of it. But like, as so much glass will only move, then it gets cold. So you have to block it up, reheat it, and then open it again until such time as we were able to take out the old furnace and put in a new one.
And that chap that came over that time, what was the...
Hitzer.
Yeah, okay.
Now, he only stayed he was a young boy. He only stayed, you get this one, he only stayed for about 5 or 6 weeks and he went missing. Couldn't find him. So they went down to the cherry tree to find out. And when they did the cherry tree, it was cleared out. There was no beds. He was getting money from the company to put stuff into it. Kitchen, bedroom, whole lot. He was getting a container, putting it into it and then shipping back to Germany.
Do you think he pulled a fast one? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
They never got him.
Well, I suppose Germany at that stage was after the war.
Yeah.
So it was very poor in Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can understand people having to go.
Oh, yeah. Now, the crowd of people that were working in the factory then, there was a Coudon, he was the Polish man. They had two Scotchmen, Alfie Farquhar and Willie Ramsey. And then they had Black Hoffman and Busty Hoffman. Busty was the man, big man, that used to make the jokes. Now his son, when he went back to Germany, he married a girl in Poland. He got killed on a motorway, on a bike.
And come here, Don, when you started off blowing, what was that like? What was it?
I got a different chance to a lot of the lads. I was put in with two the Italians. They had Johnny Gianni, married to Monty Hennessy, him and Umberto Compani. Umberto Compani, I was put in with him. And Johnny was the man on the platform. And Uvenik. Uvenik used to make the small. We were making wine glasses. We could make 100,000 wine glasses in 8 hours.
Wow.
It's called Gentili. It's a different type of work, much different type of work than lead crystal. Now, there's only two of us could do it. Nicky Wilmot picked it up and I picked it up. I was the last man doing Gentili work. To make, that'd be a Gentili thing because the soda. The ones with the cuts on them, like the thing over, you have to use a divider halfway down the glass to get the thickness from there, moving up to it at the top part like that. Whereas, what wine glasses at the moment, the stem and the cup are made together. That's what they call Gentili. You pulled out the stem as you walked, then you walked in and made the bowl of it. That all went into the mold together. So all the men on the platform had to do is put this on. Yeah. Whereas in the other one, you had this, you had the stem, and you had the foot put on. That was the difference with it. And the difference of soda and 30% pure lead was in the other one.
Okay. And do you know, when you moved from Ballytruckle to Johnstown, do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay, and what was that like?
That was great. That was, Eddie, I was one of the last, myself and Nicky Wilmot were the last two, because we were making Gentili. Johnstown was all crystal. That's where the crystal really started, was in Johnstown. But they had, like I said, they had one or two furnaces there. I was in one furnace, and Nicky Wilmot was in another, making Gentili. But then Nicky Wilmot became very skilled person altogether, and he started to make what we call hocks, with a long stem, because we were putting the stems in the soda. He had a knack of putting them in the crystal, so he started to make hocks. I was the last man to keep making Gentili. They had to have a balance, but people looking for soda glasses for the pubs kept the balance going. Eventually then they weaned it out all together, and I just went in doing almost the same job, only I was taken off of the platform. I was walking on the platform all the time, but when you're making the lead crystal, you're down on a chair like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see him?
I saw the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting on a chair like that.
And you're rolling the bar and all that kind
of thing. You'd be holding it out like that, and you'd be walking that way. You'd have a bucket there, and your sticks would be like that. Right. What they used to do is a piece of wire between that one and that one, right? And you'd open it out like that. You put a little cut in it there, a little V in it, so that the stem could go into it. And when you put the hot glass onto the top of the stem would come up like that, right? You just squeeze the two of them together nice and slowly. Run them out, run them back, run them out, on the back and make sure that this is the proper size. You were given a template then, and the template went like that. Yeah, size of the stem was there to make it.
Yeah. And like this is, I mean, we'll have a look at the picture later on.
Yeah.
But like it was a big team effort, wasn't it?
Big team. Oh yeah, you worked as a team.
So one fella was doing one thing, passing on to the next fella, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And so on.
The way it was the below, say a young fella coming in, like if I went in as a small apprentice, I would be called the ball blower. The first thing I do was I'd get my irons, I'd put them in the thing in the morning first, heat them up, make a ball, hang it up, and then go in and make another one. And when that one is cool enough, the blower takes it off of the, just hanging there. And thing with a fork, right? You just rubber on it, hang it, take it out, and he would go in and get the glass, take out the glass, and he would work on it. They had a trough with water in it, and you'd keep all those wood, those were all wood, they had to be kept in water so that they wouldn't burn. So while he's making that, when he's doing that, you're making another ball for him. So that's the start. So when the glass is made, it's handed down to me, or a girl, and she hands it over to me, right? And I make the stem on it, or make the foot on it, and I throw it away, and then there'll be another one ready for me. What she be giving me be the cup end of a glass, and I be putting the stem and the foot on it, or whatever way you want to make it. And then you had another young fella in the shop. When the blower had made the glass and handed it down to me, I had a young fella then, and all he had was a long iron, and he'd go in and he'd get a little piece of glass on it, just maybe the size of a, how would I put it, a good Swede now, you know, just enough to make that, and he'd be holding it with, and he'd hand it down to you, you'd cut it onto the end of the glass, and then you use those tools, you'd make your foot on it. And when the foot is made, then you show it down, and you go through the same procedure again. And then when time comes to finish, first fella finish it is the ball blower. He might go off at 5 to 12 for his lunch, and then the next fella go off after him would be the blower. Next fella after him would be the big getter, and the last man on the chair, he'd be the last to go. But then he'd be the last to start. That's kind of a way, you know.
Absolutely. So it was like a rota.
Yeah.
And come here, I mean, I heard that Johnstown now was rough and ready as regards. It was very hot to work there, and you know, hard going.
Yeah.
Okay. And would it be a dangerous place to work?
It is, yeah, it is a dangerous place, but I only saw one accident now, right? And I saw it happen in the night time. I don't know what to tell you about. The whole thing about making glass, walking with the heat, everyone turned to the right. Right? If you turned to the left, you walked into the fella that was coming behind you.
Okay.
So your idea was you go in that way, into the furnace, and out this way. Hand the thing across to the man on the chair, in that way, into the furnace, and out that way. But if you made a mistake and went the other way around. Now, we were walking one night in Johnstown, and we had a boy called Durango Power. He was well known for post offices. That was all I'd say about him. But he lived in Water Street. He was, and it was just about 10 to 8 on a Thursday night. Now, at the time, we were moving down to Johnstown, and Mr. Batchick was the manager. Now, Mr. Batchick used to come in every night between 7:45 and 8 o'clock. Now, we never knew why, but he used to come in every night at 8 o'clock, around 10 to 8, 7:45. But we were on at the last one up, going to lunch at 8 o'clock. and we had a boy from out the country. And his job was like, when the glass was finished and the jug was made, that he'd bring it and clean the stick, but didn't he turn the wrong way? And he caught the angle pair in the chest with the arm. Now, I'm only talking about millimetres of glass, but he reached him from his navel up to his shoulder. And only for...
Like a cut or a burn?
Oh, a cut.
Okay.
Did you ever see it? You wouldn't even know you. The guy didn't know he had it on the short started. He was there only for Mr. Batchick was there with a car. He wrapped him in the blanket and got him up to the infirmary. Straight away. You know, the car got him into the door of the infirmary at the time.
So you could have been killed, like?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was the only worst one I saw. I saw a few fellas getting small burns and things like. But I was on the job that night. I was working that night.
I heard fellas used to get small burns when they needed to get off as well.
Oh yeah. And you know how you get splinters. You know the splinter in your finger. How you get the splinter out was you put your finger in the water, and when someone brought the hot glass out, you put your finger under the hot glass like that, and you could see the stinging glass coming out of your finger.
Wow.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt you.
No, you wouldn't even feel it.
Go away.
No, we had another. Do you want me to tell you stories about it?
What?
We had Mr. Gretson was brought along into the job, and like, you know, he came along. He became the master law.
It's Joseph Crescent.
Joseph, yeah.
Hey, do you know the way you say Mr. Batchick and Mr. Crescent? Was that the way you always said? Okay, you never called him by the first name?
Oh, just no.
Okay. Why?
You had to show respect.
So they were like the...
Well, at the time, that's the respect that we had for them. Like, it wasn't Willie Ramsey, it was Mr. Ramsey and Mr. Parker. Mr. Crescent, Joseph, Mr. Mullock. That's Mr. Mullock was in the thing. I became a very good friend of Mr. Mullock. Very good friend of Mr. Mullock. Altogether.
And you were saying about Joe Crescent, go on, tell us.
Yeah. Joe, as you know, was kind of a tough fella in his own set of ways.
But that was only a bit of blackguard.
Yeah, but the real wasn't blackguard.
Okay.
No, that's the type of banter that went on there. Okay. You were afraid, if you were going to do a banter, you had to do a banter that you weren't going to get involved in. Otherwise, to blow out of all proportion. Okay. Then what happened is it started off very well. And they went into pot setting then, and Mr. Bullock said that anyone that was doing pot setting would have to have a drink. So he started buying in drink, leaving it in the office. And one of the lads then was selling it to us at a cheaper rate. So we could have a drink while we were pot setting. Well, after pot setting, you could sit down and have your drink after pot setting.
What, was that because it was so hot to work?
Yeah, okay. Well, you ever see furnace when it opened up?
I seen pictures of them taking out the pots.
Yeah.
Putting in the pots.
Yeah.
I mean, that looked like dangerous work.
Yeah, well, I done that for 40 years.
Sit back in the seat, because otherwise they'd have to change the lights.
I did that for 40 years.
Did you?
Yeah. I went in, when I joined the company first, we had a man called Andy, well, he was an Englishman, but he only left. He left when we Andy Paul became the new foreman in the blowing room. And I got into watching it one day, and he said, "Would you like to be on it?" I said, "I would, yeah." Now, it meant I was going to get £2 extra for the pots. At the time we got a pound extra, then it went up to £2, then eventually went up to a fiver a pot. Every time you do 2 pots on a Saturday night. But you must remember, my wages was only £1.18 and sixpence. The other 1 and sixpence was for tax for stamps.
And you said you were an apprentice now?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said to me, the day, Don, he said, "I have to tell you to pick up an iron. Your job is gone." But I was on it for 4 hours. I was the last to leave it.
And when you changed the pots, you were allowed to have a drink
Yeah.
because it was so hot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sure, the salt. Your clothes would be all matched. But like, if you went in with just a coloured shirt on it, you could know he was sweating. To be all the salt to be coming out through your body.
Wow.
You must remember, furnace is as big as that, and you open the front of it.
Yeah, I've seen pictures now.
Yeah, well, what happened to me was, I got so interested, and Mr. Moloch said to me, you must make sure that the pot is straight in there, not crooked. If it's crooked, we say to the right, the boy on the left is going to get burned. And if it's crooked to the left, the boy on the right is going to get burned. Whatever way the air used to come down from the burners upstairs, they go out. So if you get, then they go to the nearest point. So if the nearest point is open a bit, you wouldn't be able to walk with it. To be roasting you up there. Fellas had ABCs up to their elbows. So I was on it for that meant I learned the time.
They had what up to your elbows? Like,
Huh?
What you say up to your elbows?
ABCs.
Are they?
I thought you'd be older than that. What is you?
Go on, tell us.
You sat at the fire there, right? And sat like that at the fire. Eventually, all your skin in here will get burned,
Okay.
right? And we had a saying, you had to burn in the rent book.
Rent book.
Yeah. So we used to get the ABCs on our arms from the going into. You'd go in that way, so all the heat is on this side here.
Okay.
You never had it on. This hand was always good, unless you were a lefter. But always it had the mark of you had been at the furnace. But like us doing that wasn't too bad. But the other thing, like was what I said to you, is a different thing. You'd want to be sitting there for a while, maybe constantly for a couple of nights, or heating yourself. Then you would get ABCs on your legs.
And come here, do you remember you were saying there that the potters, the fellas that changed the pots, that they were allowed to have a drink? But I saw pictures of Joseph Cretson drinking while he was blowing.
Yeah. Oh, they never, but see, they never stopped you.
Okay.
So now she went and falling all over the place.
Okay.
But then again, Cretson would only have his one drink or two drinks. There was
disciplined,
yeah. We had fellas, they didn't come into work.
Okay.
They didn't come into work.
And there was a lot of pubs outside the gate.
Canties.
You had the Mansion House.
Canties.
Yeah.
And Philly Grimes. And then you had the one at the car stand, which was with Long Canadians as well. That had a book.
All right, so you get the credit.
Get the credit there, yeah.
And so, I mean, did you like being a blower?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was a good career.
Okay. But I mean, it was different to the cutters, wasn't it?
Oh, much different. They could come into their suits and just take off their clothes, put on a bib on now. Whereas we took off our clothes.
Yeah.
We went down to a vest or a t-shirt and shorts. The only thing about the shorts and things was you'd pick up a small, somebody going along with an arm there on the ground like that. There'd be pieces too big and they'd be knocking them off. You get splinters on your feet and things like,
Yeah, and tell me, would you? There was another story too about that the blowers are great singers and.
Oh yeah, we'd have a sing song in the night time. All you had to do was get one for the start, and you'd have it. We got on. I think that was the difference between the cutters and the blowers. We were more sociable than they were. They got their heads stuck in a wheel and didn't get a chance. They had to concentrate a lot more. Whereas when you'd have a glass and you had to blow and say, you put it up to your mouth like that, and what you do is, in order to, when you made out, you'd mould the glass like that and make it like a sausage. but it's 2 feet long, it's about that length. Right? And in order to get the air, to go through the air, you couldn't just, you had to give a thing that was, so we used to do that, catch your thumb, put it up into your mouth like that, and then you can watch it coming out. That would break the seal, and the ball would the air start to come out. And then you'd be waiting, and we used to start singing songs like that,
Oh, what kind of songs would people sing?
Oh, everything that you could think of.
Could you remember people singing? In your head, who would you think of singing? Who would be the fellas that'd be singing? Start off a sing song.
Mama Fair was a handy singer at the time, But then he was a little bit of a head kiss as well, And there were so many fellas in it. Like when you look at a photograph and see how many, like somebody over there that be singing, you wouldn't know who he's singing, but you join in, that kind of thing.
So did you think that there was a certain personality among the blowers? Like did you have to be a bit mad to be a blower?
Yeah,
or
much better. Much better.
Better crack.
Better crack.
Oh, okay.
We went to the first outing was down to Youghal, down to the Red Bairn in Youghal. So we went off on a Sunday. This was early 1951. We went down to the Red Bairn and the Hurricane Neely's buses. And they brought us down to Armore first and then down to the dancing there. And on the way back, the bus got stuck on the bridge in Youghal, if you can remember, when they had all the battles on it. We were there. We were coming into Cork Road at 7:05 in the morning. Had been gone since Saturday. So all I did was went home, got my bike and changed my clothes and into work. Didn't even get a chance to go to bed. We were sitting on the old bridge till after 3 o'clock in the morning before the bus came back. Had to send down to Ireland for a new bus.
And there was a big social scene then in the blowing section.
Yeah, there was. We were the best. We had our own social club, all right, as you can see from thinking. But that was taken up by K4. When we moved from Johnstown out here, K1 out here in Ballytruckle or in Kilbarry was a different crowd coming. K2 was a different crowd. K3 was a different crowd. But K4 were all the last persons that come from Johnstown out to there. So we were nearly there. The fellas that started early were the last to move out. And that's why we would stay together.
And you were in K4?
Yeah.
And K4 was the one where all the tourists used to go into, wasn't it?
Not, in the start we were, but not in the end we weren't. Okay. The tourists were going, they could come up the back way from the new main offices into our place. But what the thing was, they went mostly in to K2 and 3. They were the two main ones. Okay. See, the way they built the factory, they built K1, K2, K3, and in the middle of the factory, they had the cutting shop, or the carpenter shop, fitter shop, and anything. The idea came from somewhere in Germany. All your main business was in the middle, so it was easy to, if anything happened in K1, it was easy to get to K1 or K3 or K4, all from the middle, that you didn't have to go around the back. I think they used they used the middle for.
And did you mind all the tourists coming in?
No, we had one. We had one up in. They used to come to Kilbarry,
Johnstown.
Ballytruckle as well, but we had a boy that had only one eye, and he'd be there. He was a bit of a hard man, he'd be there, and when the tourists would be coming in then, and if he was in the humour, he would turn around and he'd say, "Hey, love, come over, look, I'm keeping an eye out for you." Now,
he'd take the eye out.
That's the truth. I'll name him for you if you want to. He's dead. But he'd take out the glass side like that. Hey, love, look. I'm keeping the eye out for you. You probably know him, Sam Bible.
And you probably met lots of celebrities, did you? And famous people coming through.
Oh, yeah. But, like, that was grand when it was in Ballytruckle. But when it started to go to Johnstown, they were brought into the different places. They were brought through the engraving first, then into the cutting shops, and then up to us, that we were only getting the tail end, like, you know. And it all depends. I care for us, all right, sometimes if they have too many buses. But when they didn't have too many buses, all the lads were in the other departments. Were getting to us, and like.
And you were also involved in lots of sports activities and stuff like that, weren't you? In the glass and.
Well, as I showed you the photograph of the lads, we played darts. We had soccer matches. We played pitch and putt, and we had a social evening. But what happened then was we became a haven for helping out charities. And to be outside the gate, or would you go something for the charity, and we done a lot of that for them, all right, you know.
And then outside of the glass factory, you were also a referee.
Yeah.
And how did you get into that?
I don't know. I was married young, like, and I needed another outbreak. Not to get away from married life or anything like that, because I had 8 children. But I used to follow Waterford when they were up in Kilcoen. And I watched the lads playing so I got involved. And I became secretary, fixture secretary with John Walden, and then I was in it for 14 years, 14 to 15 years. Like, and there were 7 of us at the time, and now we are no one. Like, there was Jimmy O'Neill, Gene Roach, Tommy Barry, James Quinn, another fella, I can't, and myself and Willie Callahan. We were all on the League of Ireland panel. So I got a chance. I was on a semi-final, and I done very well in the semi-final. And the boy that was doing the semi-final should have got the final, but he made a mistake. So he lost that, and they gave it to John Carpenter. And John Carpenter with Jimmy O'Neill, the 2 linesmen that night. It was Tremock Rovers and Cork Celtic. Went to a replay. And then we done so well in that Jimmy O'Neill and myself were picked for the Fastest of Hungary game against Shelburne up Daly Mount, second leg up in Daly Mount. They were beating 1-0. Shelburne.
And there'd be a lot of pressure on you, wouldn't it?
Oh, they never had. I got 2 digs. I got 2 or 3 digs, yeah.
As a referee?
As a referee, yeah.
From players?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I went out by made sure you had the right skin on your back at that. It was tough. Yeah. Much tougher than it is now, because they didn't have the not the technology, but they didn't have the system to be able to clamp down on players, you know. I'll give you one good idea of what it was. Doc Morrissey, have you ever heard of him? Yeah. He was a great man. He loved the ball over in Osher. He was playing Boers. He loved the ball over the thing. My Liam O'Shea was on goal, and Cummins was playing centre forward. And Cummins saw the ball coming down and made a run for the ball, and he dummied the keeper. The keeper picked up the ball, hopped it, and then went to go kick it up the field. But when he kicked it up the field, then he kicked Cummins on the way out.
Deliberately, like?
He kicked Cummins on the way out. I was the only one saw it. I gave a penalty. And I'm telling you now, they had a last that day. Ben wanted to home me after Cosper. Do you see what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
That's the type of, but like, what I saw was the truth.
Yeah.
I saw the foul. They didn't see the foul. So I gave a penalty. Oh, I was known to be the bad boy.
I know it's a dangerous job because like, you're.
But I was a fair man.
I know, but you
I'm
can't
being
be
honest.
popular. You can't be popular in that job.
No, but they still some of the lads know me now to be saying, "Hey man, somewhere free by," you know.
So they saw you as fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was still involved in this. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the glass factory.
Wow.
Those things you don't know about. Andy Paul was made foreman. And after about 4 or 5 weeks, there was a big tall German came in the door. And his name was called Winkelmann. And he could speak English and German very well. He actually played the piano. And he won tops of the town for the glass factory at one stage. He was interested in boats. And we had a Lily Doreen was down on the quay. And he got interested in it. It was an old boat that they used to use in the stewery to do a bit of training in. But we never went anywhere only down the river. He decided to bring it to Old Bowland to have it refitted. He went from the quay down, and that was the last we ever saw him. He was picked up about 2 weeks after. He had a life jacket on him, but he was dead. Hypothermia.
So did he ever find out what happened, or?
No, I never heard what really happened to it, but he was a gentleman.
Okay.
Lovely man to work for and all, you know. My son, I have a thing upstairs. When I got married, I'm trying to go away a little bit for you, but it's all to do with glass. I was living in a little house in Polebury, in Ballytruckle. I have a thing that's still upstairs on the wall. It's a Lord on the cross, and it's in gold. No, it's not gold. And it has velvet around it. But that was given to my wife at the time, 1930. By a boy called Cyril Power. Cyril was a bit of an alcoholic, unfortunately. Right. My son was bringing that girl there and 2 of my other children to the zoo, and Paul was bringing them in the car, and they drove up the quay, and Cyril was standing outside Breen's. And when the son stopped for the lights, he said to Paul, "You used to live home to the Cork Road. I'll pick you up on the way back," he said. You get that one? Yeah, that one. See that? See that? That trip was that was to we went to Brussels.
Okay.
The Brussels, and when we were in Brussels, and your man brought us the wrong way, and we missed our flight to Nuremberg.
And this is you here, Don?
Yeah, we drove to Nuremberg, and we drove from Nuremberg back the whole way into Nantes, into Heidelberg, down into Nantes, and down into Paris, and spent a day in Paris. And there's a thing about this. How would I put it? We went into a castle to have a meal, and they gave us l'escargot, but they gave us gold swords, small mini swords, to take out the l'escargot out of the thing, and we all put it in our pockets. And they followed us in the bus. They wanted them all back.
Couldn't take you anywhere.
But like we thought we could give them the sword presents. You know.
Like, Don, was that your first time out of Ireland?
Well, no, I was either been in England.
Okay. On the boat?
Yeah.
Okay. But this is your first time flying then?
The first time to Europe, yeah.
Okay.
And
was that very exciting?
Fantastic.
Okay.
We did a different factory every day, and we ended up with the machine for we say to do away with 2 people coming back. What we were told to do is when we did this particular factory, somebody was ever been in there and saw the machine before us, and they said, "You do this piece, you do that piece, you do that piece." Sketch it in your head and put it on a piece of paper when we came back. So we were able to make a machine that when the glass was handed down, you could walk away and leave it, the machine would work it and keep the same speed.
Wow.
The blower, they had to take it down, put the stem in it and run it down there and leave it there. And when it's cool enough, then all you needed was one girl to take it off, put it in the oven. So she was able to do 2 shops. Before you had to have her there all the time, handing the glass over to you, taking the glass off you. But this machine done all that.
Okay.
Just
so
there.
you were going around Europe robbing ideas then?
Yeah, that was the idea, like, you know.
That's gas, isn't it?
Yeah.
And who else is in this picture? Who else who's in it?
The eyesight's not the best. But on that way. That's Paddy Hannigan.
Yeah.
And that's myself.
Yeah.
That's Paddy O'Keefe.
Yeah.
That's Tom Healy.
Tom Healy was a manager, was he?
He was the manager, and he was in Cuspo.
Yeah.
He was also in Cuspo. I can't just think if his name funny. He ended up down in Dungarvan.
Yeah, keep going.
That was Paddy Hennessy.
Okay.
And that was John Donnelly. She tells me now John Donnelly is dead. And that's Donald Kerr.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'll tell you a story about him. 30-year dinner was held in the Candlelight Hotel. Now, they've had a 10-year dinner, they've had a 15-year dinner, and had a 20-year dinner. Right? And they also had dinner for over 65s. Now, I'm going to harp on this one. We went out to that, and the only people, you have the photograph of it there, the only people that went to that dinner were people who were 30 years in the factory. Yeah. Did you give that there? That should be there. 30 years in the...
I gave you one picture there.
Which one is it?
Oh, no. Go behind the scenes.
Is this one?
No.
Yeah.
No.
This one?
Colour one, is that
The colour one, no. That's one of the 10. That's something called... that's up in the RV.
Oh, okay.
That was the stage in the RV. That's in the factory. I'll tell you about that.
And this one here?
Yeah, that's the one.
There's RIP on them all.
So these are all the 30-year people?
They're all the 30-year people. Who's not in it?
And that's in the Candlelight?
Yeah. Every one of them is... There's 6 of us still alive.
Okay.
Who's not in it?
Don't know.
Go on, tell me.
Is it Tom Healy?
Tom Healy.
Why?
Tom Healy was brought to that dinner, and he was made sit in the hall and would not be left into that function.
Why?
Because he wasn't 30 years in the job. Mr. Griffin wouldn't let him in. Now, Mr. Griffin was a gentleman. He wouldn't let him in because the thing was for people with only 30 years. Now, I go back, most of them fellas were 30 years, but they weren't 60 years of age. Then they were never brought to the 65-year dinner then. Right? But we had fellas come down out of the juice factory, the Clover Meats, who were either doing their life working for them, got other jobs in that factory and were brought to the 65-year dinner.
But why would he leave Tom? Was Tom not... He wasn't actually 30 years there, was he?
No, he wasn't 30 years there at that time. But he was brought out there to pay for that and to make sure that everyone was looked after. That's the truth, I'm telling you the truth.
And tell us some of the other pictures then. Who?
That picture is the only lads that worked in the 5 different factories.
Okay.
We all worked in Ballytruckle.
All right.
We all worked in Johnstown. We all worked in Kilbarry. We all worked in Butlerstown. And then we went to Dungarvan.
So that's kind of unique then.
Huh?
That's very unique.
Yeah.
With that group.
Yeah. If you read the thing, it'll tell you that. Like, you know.
And this one here then, 1,000 years of glass blown. What's that?
That was taken by somebody. It was what, after one of the 10-year dinners or something.
Okay.
They were all together.
Okay. And then, what's this one here?
That's when we set up a committee meeting in K4. So all the members of the K4, so there's a social club.
Okay.
A separate social club to the company. So that's the one that we come with the soccer players and them. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll show the soccer one next then. That was the, this is the trip that you're on about. So this is glass team, was it?
Yeah, that was the glass team, yeah.
That's you there in the middle of Mahon. So were you kind of a manager then at that stage, or what was it?
Yeah, well, there's 2 or 3 of us were on the committee. John Joe Lucas was on the committee. He mightn't have been in that photograph, but 2 or 3 of us got together in that photograph. And what we did was we paid for it ourselves, but we got the company. Got the company to stop the money out of our wages.
Okay.
Right? And we could take it out anytime we want. And then we got fellas who got greedy. And we saw that we had so much money. So what we went back to the company and said, stop it now. And what I did was, I got you to sign a form to join the club. Sign it, so the money came out of your wages. And I went back to you then when this thing started to boil, and I said, do you want to stay or do you want to go? So if you said, I want to go, what we did then, we had so much money, we had nearly £1,000 and thing. What we did then was, the fellas that wanted to go, we say 20 of them. We put their names together, divided the money by half. You got X money, and the money, if you didn't want to go, we left your money there. And it caused a bit of a stir, but everyone, there was no one out and anything like that.
It was fair.
Yeah, be fair with it, like, you know.
These are all retirement, are these kind of like, what are these guys? Social dinner dances, are they?
That's the last side.
Okay.
I think that's one of 10 or 15 year olds.
Okay.
That's the one, them ones, the major ones. See, unless you were 10 or 15 or 20 years, they never held anything outside.
That's the same one. And this one here then, what's this? This is your said about the nurse.
She was so many years in the factory. We presented her with a thing, and we were what they call her boys. She could lay on us, you know.
And they were all blowers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's they're all there. I'm there. Paddy Ray is there making the thing. They're all there on that. If you get their names
Yeah,
down
they're all there,
yeah.
And who's this gang here?
That's the gang that has worked in Ballytruckle.
Oh, right. Oh, that's the same
Yeah,
picture.
that's the same photograph.
Oh,
only
right.
I went along and got it done up like this.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is much better
Yeah.
quality. Sorry.
That boy is dead.
Okay.
He has Alzheimer's at the moment. He's the groundsman up in the Gaelic field at the moment. That's myself. That's Sam Jacob. And that's Mossy Kelly, Mirashow Callick, just in case.
Oh, the cyclist.
The cyclist, yeah. Mossy McAvoy, he's dead now. He's still alive. Hannigan is his name. Mr. Holland, he was the manager of Dungarvan. He was a cutter. He started in the cutting shop up there. No one liked him. That's Jerry Sullivan. He was in the SCA. He's only at the dying 3 or 4 weeks ago.
I know, Jerry.
I went to his funeral. I went to 2 other funerals, and the priest turned around to me out in St. Joseph and then he said, Donny said, I'll give you what you call it, a season ticket.
Because you're there so often.
3 days in a row. And that's the boy that set up part of the thing in the other road for the people, you know, the social welfare thing in the other road.
All right.
Young Flanagan.
Okay.
He was one of the ones that started that.
Okay.
No, you don't know that, but he was he was always on to get social welfare, get this and get that.
St. Bridget's, is it?
In St. Bridget's, yeah.
Okay.
Eddie Flanagan
Okay.
is his name.
And Don, just from looking back on the whole thing now, I mean, how do you feel about the whole thing now after all this time now? And it's all gone and all the rest of it.
It's a pity. It's a big pity. 30 million that have fixed it. We had some very good foremen, you know, and when you get I could speak to any of them, you'd find out that we were something unique. We were a unique factory, like, you know. Now, I'm not hanging bouquets, but we had a boy up there who was a very good cutter. Joined when he got in there, they wanted to get someone to be a fire officer. He became a fire officer. They wanted someone to become a first aid officer. Became a first aid officer. And when he applied for the job down there, they said, no, we don't want you. I'm telling you the truth. You know, and we have another boy down. I went on that trip. I went to a place in Lilith, in France. I didn't know it now at the time, but you know, there's something that Steve had. So this boy, when they changed the furnaces before they woke up, they brought in a new tank furnace that to be full all the time, and to be a steady flow of glass. When you go down, be steady flow of glass will go into it, and you can keep working so long as you keep the temperature up. And it was a German that done it. So when the factory closed and they decided to move in here, they decided that that's the tank, the furnace that they wanted. But it had to go back to Germany. And they sent over a man called Muller. And he got to know a certain young fellow up there. Right? And he got him to work for him. And he offered him the job in Germany to come. And when they clean out the thing, it had to be shut down. Pieces had to be taken apart. The old glass at all had to be chipped out. So they asked him to go there. And he went. He spent 1.5 years there doing it. And then once it was ready, they sent it back. And they sent this boy back with him. And the boys below said, no, you're not coming in. Because he was the next water class worker. But the man that done the job said, he goes or the tank don't go. He said, I still own the tank. Before they bought it. So he gave him a job in Germany. He's working in a lead factory now, but they wouldn't let him in down here. So that's the type of people you're dealing with.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I suppose you have, at one time there was 3,500 people, wasn't there?
Yeah,
I mean,
3,500,
It's
yeah.
hard to believe it's all gone now.
Oh, it is, yeah. Much hard. But like that boy, when he went to Germany, they gave him a house in Northampton. He comes home, he has a contract somewhere, he has so many weeks off, yeah, they pay for him to come home, things like that.
Well, Don, thanks very much for giving us the time. I really appreciate it. It's great to get all those stories.